How expensive is Istanbul as of right now? Now, my name is David Casper, and I'm going to be telling you how much Istanbul set me back for 3 days out there, from the transport to the attractions, just every little thing you need for your potential trip to Istanbul. Now, you see a lot of people talking about Istanbul and how expensive it has gotten compared to what it used to be 10 years ago. And yeah, I'm gonna put those numbers into perspective. They probably have gone up a lot since videos you've seen in the past, but as of right now, from 2025 onwards, yeah, the prices have spiked. Now, throughout this video, I'm going to be referring to the price in Turkish lira and pounds, and the price will be per person. It won't be for the group, it will be per person. So obviously you can take those numbers and times it by the amount of people you are planning to go out there with. Stick around to the end of this video to find out the total cost of 3 days in Istanbul. But let's kick this video right off with the flights and accommodation. Now, this is of course something I can't really factor in. I do have timestamps down below to the stuff that is relevant for you if you just want to skip ahead for this part, because obviously people are going to be spending different prices on flights depending on the place in the world they're flying from, and also accommodations to suit their needs. Now, you can see the accommodation we stayed in above. Yeah, we spent a little bit more for the luxury. We did want to come back to some place, like after a long day of walking, you just want to relax. You want to come back to some place nice. We did spend a little bit more. The whole thing for us with flights and accommodation cost us around 400 with bed and breakfast. But one thing I will recommend with your accommodation is make sure you stay in the old town, and also make sure if there is a possibility to make sure you get yourself a rooftop bed and breakfast, because the views, like you can see in this video, yeah, they are insane, and it was one of the highlights of our trip, just being able to look at the Sofia Hagia, the Blue Mosque, as well as Dolmabahce Palace in the distance. Just seeing the whole of Istanbul from your hotel on the roof at breakfast, yeah, it was perfect. I would highly recommend that. Now, when you touch down in Istanbul, chances are you're going to be looking for a SIM card, because yeah, at least for my roaming, and I know a lot of people in the UK, they don't have Turkey part of their European roaming package on their mobile. So yeah, you're probably gonna have to get a SIM card if that is something you do need. Something that is essential for me wherever I travel. I need to be able to see how I'm getting around, being able to book tours, and just being able to keep up to date with the world, because I do run a few social media pages, so I can't really just be off the grid, you know what I mean? As much as I'd love to at times, it's just something that I can't do. Now, I cannot stress this enough, but absolutely do not get yourself a SIM card at the airport. I know it is tempting. Do not get a SIM card at the airport. Wait till you get to Old Town. You will be saving yourself a lot of money, and I mean a lot of money. Now, it is going to take some time looking into. SIM cards are expensive in Turkey. They just are. There's a thing in Turkey, and it does take the piss a little bit, but there is tourist prices, which is basically doubled on what the locals pay, and locals pay basically half, if not more than half, than what the tourists pay. It does take the piss. I don't think it's right, but it's the way the country operates, and it is what it is. You just need to put up with it. Now, a lot of places will be charging about 1,300, 1,400 Turkish lira. You can get much cheaper. It just takes a little bit of hunting. We were probably going around for about half an hour to an hour. Basically, any SIM card we're walking past on the way to the hotel we were popping into, and we managed to get our SIM card for 700 Turkish lira, which is about £15. It's still half of what most places are charging, but yeah, we did get a good fee for a 3-day SIM card. Next up, we have transportation, and the main two methods of transport you are going to be using are boats and metro. Do not take a taxi from the airport to Istanbul. It's just not worth it when the metro station is right there. Now, the way the transport works in Istanbul is you need to get yourself a travel card. The travel card costs 113 Turkish lira. The prices might have gone up since the making of this video slightly, but it's not much. And then what you do with that card once you have it is you just consistently keep topping it up, and you just keep tapping those cards in. If you're going in a group of 2 or 3, there was a group of 3 of us, you buy one card, you tap that card 3 times, you let 3 people go by. It's extremely easy to use, and they work on both the boats and the metro, and it will do you for your holiday. You might need to get another card afterwards, depending on how much you decide to use the transport. Something I did forget to mention as well is you can actually use a card on trams. We did use the trams as well. But yeah, extremely easy, extremely useful. The transport is cheap. For the 3 days in Istanbul, I spent 513 Turkish lira, which is about £11 on transport. So yeah, it is extremely cheap because you're not going to be getting around the whole of London on that kind of budget for 3 days. Now, supermarkets in Istanbul are relatively cheap. They compare to most places you'll go in Europe. I wouldn't say the prices are inflated. The supermarkets are very small. There is stuff that of course costs a lot more, but if you want to buy simple stuff like a few snacks and like water for yourself or a few drinks, because obviously Istanbul is hot, you need to keep yourself hydrated, you won't be spending much for 3 days. Literally in supermarkets, I only spent 583 Turkish lira, which is about £15. Yeah, it's not too much. Next up, we're going to be talking about something that will set you back a lot more than what I've just gone on about, and that is food, eating out. Now, we obviously got a bed and breakfast like I mentioned earlier, so that saved us money, and we also didn't waste time trying to find food. Now, as well, for lunch, we didn't really go anywhere properly to eat. We got a quick takeaway, we sat on a bench. It filled us up, it was nice, it doesn't cost too much. You can get yourself a wrap, you can get yourself practically anything, and that will probably cost you about £5. Yeah, it's extremely cheap just to get yourself a takeaway. Dinners, on the other hand, they're more like London prices, probably equal to it. Obviously, like anywhere you go in the world, stay away from the major tourist attractions because that's probably where the food is going to be the worst, and also where they inflate the prices. So go to where you can see some of the locals go into, go to some side streets. The food will be a lot better, it won't cost you as much, and you're going to enjoy your meal a lot more. Now, for a starter, main course and a drink, it will probably set you back about 1,000 to 1,500 Turkish lira a night. That's for the dinner, which is about 20 to 25 pound. It's not too bad. I see why people say Istanbul's gotten a lot more expensive, because I remember when I used to travel to Turkey as a kid, food used to be extremely cheap to get. So yeah, it has gone up to prices like the UK, and UK is considered one of the most, well, London itself is considered one of the most expensive places to live. So I see why people complain about Istanbul being expensive. But like I said, you do have alternatives. Not every day you're going to be eating takeaways, I get that. But if you do want to save yourself money, takeaways are always an option. Now, for 3 nights in Istanbul, we spent 3,300 on food, which is equivalent to about £70. But that is without adding one of the nights where we decided to get a sunset cruise, which again is something I will highly recommend. It's something that I'm going to be making a video on shortly, so make sure you stick around for that. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. But yeah, we spent 1,000 Turkish lira on a sunset cruise, which is about £20. But it's something I'd highly recommend. So in total, for food, we spent about 4,000 Turkish lira, which is about £90. Not too bad, but it is a little bit, yeah, it is a bit spendy compared to other places I've been. But on to the final thing I need to talk about, and that is attractions. Attractions are so expensive, and I see why people start saying Istanbul is expensive, it's not what it used to be. Oh my days, attractions cost so much, and it's like, I've never seen anything like it. And it again goes back to the same thing of tourist prices, local prices. Because if you're a Turkish citizen, you're paying nothing for these tourist attractions. Like the price that I believe that these should be priced at. But tourist attractions, like when you're spending £40 to go to a palace, £30 to do that, £20 to go up a tower, there's so much to see in Istanbul, and everything adds up. Now, the main attractions you can go to are Dolmabahce Palace, the Sofia Hagia, the Topkapi Palace, Galata Tower, and the Basilica Sistine. But that, just wait for it. Wait until you hear this cost, okay? 7,313 Turkish lira, which is equivalent to £158 on tourist attractions. That is insane. And these ain't even like attractions where you're going to like theme parks and stuff like that. These are attractions where you're physically going to museums. Where us tourists are paying £158 for these attractions, where locals, where people that have Turkish citizenship are probably paying no more than 50. It's crazy, and I see why people say Istanbul is getting a lot more expensive. Now, these are things you can't skip either. Like, you're in Istanbul, don't be going budget on stuff like this, because once you see it, you see it. You don't need to see it again, and you're not gonna have no regrets. Topkapi Palace is the one thing that costs like a hella like inflated fee. It is like £40 to go to Topkapi Palace, but again, it's something that I wouldn't recommend you miss. You need to go see Topkapi Palace. Not as, in my eyes, it's not as nice as Dolmabahce, but it is nice to see the history, and it is also like, it does take a lot of your day. So I do get why it's a little bit more than the other attractions, but the fee is insane for something like just a museum. Like, it is unheard of. I've never been to a museum so expensive in my life, but it is what it is. Now, the total cost, and this is what I feel like most of you guys are here for, the total cost of 3 days in Istanbul for us came out at 13,286 Turkish lira. This is equivalent to £288, and is that a lot? Is that not a lot? I'll let you determine. That is without the flights and accommodation, just so you know. But yeah, altogether that probably set us back probably about 700. It's not too bad. Like, everywhere you go on holiday, you are spending money. But yeah, compared to videos you've seen from 5 to 10 years ago where people were saying Istanbul's cheap, you must go Istanbul, the prices have gone up massively. Now, of course, you might end up spending more money than we did if you do want to end up buying stuff like some Turkish lights to take home, which I have not factored into this video. There's a lot of clothes out there, a lot of nice clothes out there, which you might want to bring back. There's a lot of stuff you can buy in Istanbul. I know people also go to Istanbul to get their teeth done. I obviously haven't got this in this video because we didn't do much of that, but those are factors I can't really talk about in this video because that's the money you're spending, and whatever you want to spend your money on, feel free to do it. Istanbul is cheap on that regard, or you can get a lot of nice fakes. But that is the end of this video. Make sure you hit that like button or the dislike button if you did not enjoy this video. Any feedback is good feedback for me. I want to know what I'm doing right, what I'm doing wrong. But until then, I'll see you in our next one.